Hey, football fans, this is Gary Greene, longtime sports handicapper and professional sports bettor here in Las Vegas for the past 35 years. And this is the Gary Wins videos. And this is your final NFL game for week 12. This is the Monday Night Football game, the bailout special for the week for everybody that lost all their money this week. And this is the Harbaugh Bowl. This is the third matchup between the two Harbaugh brothers. Right now, Jim, a perfect 2-0, and John trying to finally win his first one against his brother. The Baltimore Ravens come in a 2.5-point favorite. The total is 50.5, and the LA Chargers are on a nice streak right now. Their quarterback is in a groove, and the Baltimore Ravens come off a very tough loss against their bitter rival, the Pittsburgh Steelers. They lost 18-16 in a snowstorm last week, so they'll look to rebound off of that loss. What we have here in this matchup is the Ravens 7-4. They are 3-3 on the road this year against the Chargers, who are 7-3 and 4-1 at home. And right now, this is a situation where we have offensive and defensive matchups that kind of favor, in a way, the Baltimore Ravens. The Ravens offense is number 1 in the league. They're the number 2 rush offense, number 3 pass offense, number 2 scoring offense. But they'll get a test because they're going to go against a bend but don't break, and they don't break often, LA Chargers defense, who will be without Khalil Mack, which is a big loss. But the bottom line is this defense for the LA Chargers makes turnover happen when they need them. And they have 9 interceptions. They now have 34 sacks, so they're starting to get some sacks from some guys they didn't expect, and that's helped out a lot. But it's a number 11 defense in the league. They're number 11 versus the rush. They're number 12 versus the pass. But again, the key stat, and the only one that matters in this league, is giving up points. And they've only allowed 14.5 points per game. That's number 1 in the NFL. As for the other side of the ball, the LA Chargers, they have the 18 offense, and they will go against a Baltimore defense that has allowed 22 touchdown passes and over 20 passes of 20 yards or more, most in the NFL, so they get burned a lot. They are tough against the run, so teams are pretty much scrapping it, and they're just going and exploiting a secondary that is out of position a lot. They get burned on a lot of big plays because of it. And interesting to see how this game will shape up, because the last few weeks have been the best weeks I've seen Herbert on tape in a long time. Clearly, he's way past his injuries that he had in the beginning of the year. They babied him a little bit, but no more. And he is throwing dimes. I mean, he is throwing passes on the money right now in tight spots, tight windows. This guy's in a groove. He is one of the better young quarterbacks in the league by far. But when we first look at this situation, we have the Ravens that are coming into this game going cross-country for one, but they're off back-to-back games against their bitter rivals, the Bengals and the Steelers. They won one of those games by 1 point. They lost another one by a couple of points. Last week, the Ravens defense, for the most part, didn't get up the big plays through the air, gave up no touchdowns, and still lost on 6 field goals against them. But Lamar last week, his poorest showing of the year. 16 for 33, 207 total yards, 1 touchdown, 1 interception. He got sacked twice. Prior to last week, though, Jackson was 14 touchdown passes to 0. 0, folks. 0 interceptions in the previous 4 games. So the snowstorm wasn't a perfect situation, but for some reason, the Pittsburgh Steelers own him. They are his daddy. When we go into some of the notes here, a couple of interesting ones because of what's transpired in the offseason. For a long time, the Ravens used running back J.K. Dobbins as their main horse, but he got hurt a few times over. Poor kid rehabbed, got back, got hurt. And now he's found a new home in L.A., and he has found a home there because he has been a difference maker to this lineup. He's having a fantastic year. You know he's going to be up for this game. As for the defense for the Chargers, they have allowed over 20 points one time all year. And that was last week against Cincinnati in that wild game. They just got crazy in the second half. As for the LA Chargers offense at home this year, they do not give that ball away freely. They have 1 turnover at home all season long. As for Baltimore, they have scored 28 points or more 7 of their last 9 games. So something's got to give there. Either the defense holds up for the Chargers or the Ravens offense and 28 points or more will break them. as far as the LA Chargers defense, this is what they've allowed in their last 5 games. 17 points, 10, 8, 17, 16. If they do that again, if they hold Baltimore to 17 or less, they're winning this game pretty easily. Now, as you know, I've been giving out prop bets on a lot of videos on a Thursday or Sunday or Monday game. And we gave out a prop video. We were 10-0 going into the prop video for the Sunday night game with the Eagles. And I gave you, will they get a touchdown, yes or no? A.J. Brown, the Eagles wide receiver. I said yes. He got one. He had a big night. Eagles win easy. Hopefully this game will be a little closer. But we're going to look at 4 props. I'm not going to give you any because all 4 of these seem pretty good. But again, I'm not a big props guy, but I'm trying to give you some stuff through the research that I found. And since we're having a little fun with that this year, it's probably only the second time I've really given out props over the years. So we'll have some fun with these. But these 4, you have to remember this. Teams are passing the ball against the Baltimore Ravens defense at a 65% clip. So if that were to be the case again here for Harbaugh and the Chargers with Herbert passing the ball a lot. Okay, this Ravens defense on tape, one of the worst pass coverages I've seen in a long time. They're giving up 284 yards passing per game. That's a lot of yards. Now, they can't cover the kids in the neighborhood. It's not just that they don't have the talent, because they definitely do, but they're always out of position. They always get picked off for at least 2 big plays a week. And I just don't understand it. They do try to, overly try to stop the run. They don't want you to do that, and they're pretty good at it. But again, it's so much easier to pass in this league. And then if you're going to pass one-on-one on cornerbacks and safeties that are covering one-on-one with some of these wide receivers, you can't cover these guys. And then even if you stop them, they get pass interference like it's just a drink of water at the fountain in the summertime at the beach. So I'm going to look at some props here. First one would be LA Chargers quarterback Herbert. That over-under for the prop pass yards is 254. Now, Herbert's 64%, 13 touchdowns, 1 interceptions the last 4 weeks. Best 4 weeks I've seen him have in his career. Going against, again, the Ravens defense that gives up nearly 300 yards per game. Now, normally I would back this one, but the possibility of no Ladd McConkey, one of his top 2 wide receivers, playing in this game, that's going to be a little harder to make up to get to that number. Again, maybe they go to Dobbins a little bit more. That would decrease your chances of getting to 254. And, in the old days, 300-yard passing games were norm on the NFL. Now, I see guys, even the Lions quarterback Goff, they're struggling at times to go over 240 yards. So 254 is a little bit high, but I would give a lean to Herbert over 254 just because he's been so dead on the money of late. Then the next ones are all going to be Lamar Jackson's. First, we'll look at Lamar Jackson last week. 207 passing yards, folks. The prop this week is 235 passing yards for Lamar Jackson. Let's put this into perspective. Prior 6 games to last week's snowstorm. This snowstorm, you would expect most people's passing, rushing, whatever numbers to go down. But prior 6 games for Lamar Jackson before the snowstorm blizzard game last week in Cleveland, he had no passing yardage games under 280 passing yards. Again, 235 is the prop here. That gives you a lot of leeway. I expect him to get back closer to that than the opposite way. Next up, we'll look at his rushing prop bet for Monday Night Football. It's 44.5 over-under. He's rushed over that 8 times this year, and I would expect that he could break one on the fast-track turf inside in the dome on Monday Night Football. I think he can get 20 yards on possibly 1 rush in this game, and he should be able to eclipse 44.5 yards. Last but not least, Jackson's stats this year. 25 touchdown passes, only 3 interceptions. 584 rushing yards, 6.1 yards per carry. So those stats bode to me. The rushing total was going to go over. And the question for number 4 would be, will he or will he not throw an interception? Yes or no? And I say no, 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 no. Just like I said for the prop bet with Brown for the Eagles to score a touchdown. Yes, yes, yes. This is no, no, no. And you know why? He threw an interception last week. In the prior 8 games before that interception, he threw 0. He's throwing 0 again in this ball game. So You have some decent prop bets for this one. This is a tough ball game. I don't rarely go with teams going across country in games, especially off of back-to-back games against divisional rivals. When you play Pittsburgh the next week, that's always a very difficult game on the legs as it is. That was a beat-down back-and-forth ball game. A lot at stake. They came out on the short end of the stick. The Baltimore Ravens, though, have such a better offense overall than the LA Chargers do, especially if they have no Ladd McConkey. So probably getting away cheap at 2.5, although the way Herbert's playing. And that's why I said about a lot of games in my video last week with the betting nuggets. And I say it all the time. You don't want to get in front of a train that's going full steam ahead. And really, that's what's happening right now for the Chargers, especially with the quarterback, Herbert. It's a train pushing ahead, full steam ahead. The guy's in the best groove of his life. You have the Ravens now questioning themselves a little bit. They have 4 losses now. They certainly can't afford any more. So that would bode to lean to the Ravens side. Again, the McConkey kid being out, they don't have a high-end quartet of wide receiving talent right now. It's amazing what this Chargers team's doing on offense, and that's all due to Herbert. The passes he throws, it doesn't matter who he's throwing to. They're right on the money, dead on the money. Offensive line's been good. He's not been making any mistakes. But again, this is a situation where Lamar Jackson's going to have a good bounce-back game, and you just wonder how long can this Jim Harbaugh continue this magic. This guy is the greatest coach ever with little talent right out the gate like this. This is just a phenomenal job. He's already Coach of the Year. And that's your Monday Night Football preview. Hope everybody has a winning night on Monday night, and may all your wagers going forward be winning ones. And be sure to continue to check out our Gary Wins videos. Bookmark us to save us to see all our videos as soon as I load them. Thanks and have a great week.